Um, I would suggest, and I will also suggest that this is worse in America than it is in the UK currently, because we have, as minor as it may be, a fairly, most people don't fall through the cracks of society, but we sell education, and education is a system of monetizing, passing on information. And students are encouraged to go to university, because if they don't have this, they don't have an MBA, don't have this, they won't even get on the footing. Then you've got to have a doctorate, or you've got to have this, or you've got to have that, and you keep on billing these people. The debts rack up. They never earn a good salary, because now there are 5 doctorates going for one job at UPS, and people are struggling to get minimum wage jobs with no benefits. I mean, here in the UK, the average paid holiday time is 4 weeks a year, whereas I know in America it's 2 at best. So the stick in the spokes is, why would I bother to be concerned about the future, Maria?
You as an 18-year-old, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on what your philosophy is of what the future is, and what you believe your purpose is. So for me, there's a lot of things to be very concerned about, what you see with the environments going on around you. And I mean, yes, it's true that for the Gen Zs, the way that work has changed. The old plan of, I go work for a company for 40 years and then retire, that's long gone. Even
Gone.
started happening with the bottom end of the boomer generation.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's a lot of fear why people are concerned about the future, which is not the path to move from. But there's also a lot of creativity about the things of the future and what's the legacy that you want to leave behind. And when I talk to especially Gen Zs, there's a lot of deep thought about their legacies.
Right.
I wouldn't just say that they not responsible. I mean, when you look at some of the things and the creative things that they come up with, they are very more socially responsible and have a bigger drive for that than any of the other generations I've seen.
When did Gen Z begin? How oldish are they?
So the Gen Z are now coming into the early 20s.
Oh, okay, fine. So they've just gone through the schooling system and been crippled with massive debts.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The view of schooling and skills acquisition, especially if you're looking at, things like software programming and stuff, most of them just go straight into acquiring skills. They don't go through the getting into deep debt of education side.
No.
So yes, there is a baseline. You've got to have your school certification, high school at least. But I think there's a lot of shift in thought of skills acquisition versus going into, universities. And I mean, university and things are still, academia is still very important in a number of areas. But I think that your Gen Zs are putting a lot of deep thought of the impact they want to have in the world.
It's interesting. Well, it's interesting to me anyway. This week's Simpson episode is about So Bart, am I going to spoil anyone's enjoyment? No, fine. Okay, so Bart, who thinks Homer's a fool and is always taking the mick out of him, he goes with him to work, and he sees that his dad shows him this and shows him that, and how they get free donuts. And then in the next day, he dresses like Homer, and he goes, "I want to be like Homer." And then there's a musical number that explains that all the jobs for the baby boomers that built the middle class, they gone. And even the jobs that the low skilled people in our economies were still able to make a living, whereas now it seems, and I say this only knowing the UK figures, but in the UK, entrepreneurs, self-employed people, something like 60% of them are earning under the minimum wage. They're working their backsides off, and they're still staying still or falling slowly into debt.